Now we will discuss about the core areas of business law. I mean the scope or the area of study of the business law. So as business law is so much broad and macro in its nature, it covers wide and varieties of acts, regulations, and provisions. I've only given the main 10 out of the lot of so many provisions and acts. And the first one is the Indian Contract Act of 1872. So this Contract Act encapsulates the contracts, agreements, and promises like offer, acceptance, consideration, capacity of parties, then legality of object and considerations, contract of bailment and pledge, and so many other provisions as far as the businesses are concerned. And this is the very important act of into the business law. And the next one is Companies Act of 2013. Earlier, there was a Companies Act of 1956. It was repealed, and now it has been the Companies Act of 2013, which tells about the regulation, incorporation, management, and winding up of companies, how to run the companies, what are its procedures, and then what are the documents like memorandum of association, articles of association about the company secretaries, their qualifications, and the company's meetings and the proceedings, the company winding up procedures or the liquidation procedures, etc. Whatever the things about the company are covered under the Companies Act of 2013. And the next one is Partnership Act of 1932. So let me tell you the fact that Partnership Act was the part of the Contract Act earlier, and now it is a separate act, and which was enacted in the year 1932. It tells about the governing of the partnerships, partnership agreement, and the partnership firms, how to run a firm, and how many partners could be taken, and what is the nature of the partnership firm, whether it is and what is the liability nature of the partnership firm, and what about the admission of a partner and the retirement of a partner and the dissolution of the partnership firms, etc. about the partnership. And the third one is Limited Liability Partnership Act of 2018. So the Partnership Act to 1932 governs about the unlimited liability partnership. Now there is a separate act which governs the Limited Liability Partnership Act in the year 2018. Then it regulates limited liability partnerships, defines roles and responsibilities of partners, designated partners, and the limited liability partnerships. And the next one is Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, which was passed in the year 2016, which governs and regulates insolvency, bankruptcy, and restructuring of companies, defines roles and responsibilities of insolvency professionals, creditors, and debtors. The next one is Consumer Protection Act 2019. Earlier, there was a Consumer Protection Act which was passed in the year 1986, and now it is being revised to the year 2019, which governs and protects the consumer rights and interests, regulates unfair trade practices, product liability, and consumer disputes. Means there are many consumer redressal agencies, that is district forum, state commission, and national commission, and who is a consumer, what are his rights, what are his obligations, how a consumer can give a grievance, and how he can redress his grievances, and how he can claim the compensation if at all he is being misused or given the bad quality of products or services. So these are all the things that is encapsulated in the Consumer Protection Act. It is one more scope of the business law. And the next one is Competition Act, which was passed in the year 2002, which governs and regulates competition, monopolies, restrictive trade practices, and defines the roles and responsibilities of the Competition Commission of India. Is one of the important laws of the business law. The next one is the Market Regulators Act, that is the Securities Exchange and Board of India Act, which was passed in the year 1992. That is, it regulates securities markets and their transactions, and exchange and intermediaries, defines roles and responsibilities of sales. So SEBI's role in the economic development and also the controlling of the market is very much important, and all those legal rules and provisions have been encapsulated in this SEBI Act of 1992. And the next one is Income Tax Act, which was enacted in the year 1961, which tells means in the Income Tax Act we have got incomes, and types of incomes are also given, and then we have got exemptions, deductions, and the heads of the income is also there. That is income from salaries, income from house property, income from business or profession, income from capital gains, income from other sources, and assessment of individuals, firms, etc. etc. So all these things are covered under the Income Tax Act of 1961, and 1961 tells us that It regulates the taxation of income, profits, and gains, defines the roles and responsibilities of taxpayers, authorities, and tax tribunals. And finally, we have got the Goods and Services Tax, which was enacted in the year 2017. It tells about the different rates of taxes which are prevailing in the country. That is, it divides the territories into three types: straight GST, central GST, and the integrated GST, and all these classifications are there. And it gives us a much needed explanation on regulation of taxation of goods and services, defines roles and responsibilities of taxpayers, authorities, and tribunals. So, well, that has been the few points that I have noted here as the scope of the business law, but business law is a little more broader, more macro in its nature, and we need to know these business laws to make ourselves business